Okay, so you know zodiac signs inside and out. But tell me this, what do you know about the planets? What do the planets say about you? Do you know in which houses your planets reside? That question may be a bit complex for now, but it doesn't have to be. If you have the skills necessary to interpret a birth chart, then these answers will come easily to you. Watch this video and find out why. No doubt, birth charts can be challenging. These charts can be difficult to understand at first, but once understood, the revelations can be quite powerful. As much as we might like to explore astrology and uncover mysteries, the truth as revealed to me through my own birth chart was that I couldn't unlock my own destiny until I began this journey of helping you unlock yours. So what are we waiting for? Let's stop waiting, let's start doing.
The stars were here many years before us, and they'll be here many years after we're gone. We study the stars so that you can be free to uncover mysteries and unlock your destiny.
Hello, and welcome to Masters of the Zodiac, where we explore astrology, uncover mysteries, and ultimately seek to help you unlock your destiny. This episode is part of a series of videos which introduces you to what should be considered as the ABCs of astrology. These are the keys to astrology, and today we're covering planets, the houses in which they reside, and a quick intro to birth charts. So it doesn't matter if it's your own chart or someone else's chart for whom you are performing a reading. You can't call yourself a master of the zodiac without mastering these skills. So what's a birth chart? In its most basic form, a birth chart is simply a chart that tells you the placement and position of the planets and other heavenly bodies at the exact moment of your birth relative to wherever you were born on Earth. It's for that reason that the date of your birth, the place of your birth, and the exact time of your birth is significant. If you were born on a certain day, then you would know which of the zodiac sun signs you were born under. That's anywhere from being an Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, to being a Pisces, the 12th sign. So that's pretty simple to ascertain and find out. We don't need a birth chart to answer those questions, or answer that question in particular. As we discovered in the first video, knowing what your zodiac sign is as simple as knowing your birthday. But why does knowing the place on Earth that you were born play such a significant role in understanding the astrological underpinnings that may affect your life? Well, first, you should note that the place that you were born locks in your position on Earth relative to the rotation of the Earth and the Sun at that given moment in time. Where was the Sun rising over the Earth? What was the position of the Moon, the stars at the moment you took your first breath, independently of surviving in your mother's body? That time, that place speaks volumes, and your birth chart paints the astrological picture through which you can better uncover mysteries about yourself and ultimately unlock your destiny. So, you may be asking yourself, where do I get my time of birth information? You mean you didn't pop out of your mother's body and start making notes right then and there? That's quite all right. Typically, you can ask your mother or parent or another loved one who was there at the magical moment. More often than not, though, people's memories can become fuzzy over time. Therefore, one of the more reliable methods for ascertaining these answers is a birth certificate. If you don't currently have your birth certificate available, it may be wise to get it and keep it handy for a variety of reasons in this day and age, and not just for astrology purposes. Modern birth certificates should record your place of birth and the best approximation of your time of birth. This time of birth will be critical for reading your own chart or interpreting someone else's chart. If you are in the United States, birth certificates are typically available through state agencies at county levels. Feel free to Google birth certificates near you and see if you can get your own birth certificate if you haven't done so already. Okay, let's start with the basics of any birth chart. We know that there are 12 zodiac signs, therefore let's position ourselves on Earth as our ancestors once did and look up into the night sky and think of it as 12 unique divisions. One division for each zodiac sign. In that way, we would have one section for Aries, one section for Taurus, and then all the way around the circle until we reach Pisces. That's 30 degrees apiece for a grand total of 360 degrees, almost like 365 days in a year. That is our first understanding of a birth chart. Next, we have the heavenly bodies that orbit around as we stand still on this Earth and look up into the sky. We would see a rising sun, a setting moon, and then the stars. From our vantage point, some of those stars would be faraway galaxies, while others are actually planets within our own solar system. So how do we know these planets? Through the use of telescopes, or in some cases, even the naked eye, these planets can be distinguished. One common mnemonic tool for memorizing planets is a quote that goes like this: "My very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas."
Where my is for Mercury, very is for Venus, educated is for Earth, mother is for Mars, just is for Jupiter, served is for Saturn, us is for Uranus, 9 is for Neptune, and pizzas is for Pluto.
That's one mnemonic tool that speaks to the positions of the planets from the perspective of regular science and astronomy. However, for the purposes of astrology and birth charts, another mnemonic tool would be recommended. You may find useful a saying that uses the first shortened syllables of the planets. It would go a little something like this: Sumo me, ve maju, sarne pluch. In this case, the syllable sound su is for the sun, mo is for the moon, me is for Mercury, ve is for Venus, ma is for Mars, ju is for Jupiter, sa is for Saturn, is for Uranus, ne is for Neptune, plu is for Pluto, and ch is for Chiron. So now we have a mnemonic tool that highlights the heavenly bodies, the sun, the moon, and the planets, or the stars, in a way that we can recall and specifically look for their notation on birth charts. If you know your birthday, if you know the place that you were born, and if you know the exact time at which you were born, then you will know the placement of those heavenly bodies in the sky at your time of birth. Knowing the planets is great. Knowing where the planets sat in each section of your chart at your time of birth is awesome. Each of the heavenly bodies have a special meaning. In our charts, the sun is considered as the star of ourself and our life's purpose. That's why our primary zodiac sign is called our sun sign. If you were born within a 30-day period or so, then that zodiac sign is your sun sign. The moon, given that it orbits the Earth so closely, affects our ocean tides and also our moods. For that reason, the moon is considered as a satellite representative of our emotions and instincts. Mercury is considered as the planet of communications and communicating. Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and loving. Mars is the planet of war, action, and being assertive. Jupiter is the planet of optimism, growth, and expansion. Saturn is the planet of discipline, structure, and restriction. Uranus is the planet of change and great upheaval. Neptune is the planet of imagination and dreams. Pluto is the planet of transformation. And the minor planet comet called Chiron is known for representing healing. So in a sense of having defined these planets, when we look at a birth chart, we can think of the planets as being verbs. A planet's placement in the charts will describe an action or tendency relative to whatever zodiac sign the planet falls under at any given time. So now comes the key ingredient for analyzing any birth chart. It comes through applying a house system to your chart. There are many house systems available for analyzing birth charts. These systems are available for a variety of reasons. For the purposes of these exercises here at Masters of the Zodiac, we'll be using the whole sign house system, as opposed to the Placidus or the Regiomontana system, in order to keep things relatively simple. The whole sign house system relates to our earlier discussion, where each sign has one of 12 sections or 30 degrees of the 360-degree circle. One of the great gifts that Mother Africa and the ancient Egyptians gave astrology is the concept of the ascendant. The ascendant is defined as the astrological sign that ascends on the eastern horizon at a specific time and location of an event. In the same fashion that the sun appears on the eastern horizon at the dawn of a new day for most astrologers, the ascendant sign reflects a new awakening of consciousness relative to the occurrence of an event. So, in the cases that we're studying here, we're witnessing the ascendant at the time of your birth, which is perhaps the most critical and revealing aspect that a birth chart provides. The ascendant is strictly tied to your time of birth, which is why knowing your time is so important. This data point effectively sets your whole chart. And so with the whole house system, the ascendant of the rising sign and the first house begins at 0 degrees, and then subsequent houses are marked accordingly, counterclockwise into 30-degree sections thereafter, giving us a chart that is set and ready to be interpreted. Each house has a corresponding zodiac sign, but there is a greater meaning there also. You may find another mnemonic tool useful for recalling the definitions and meanings of each of the houses. Here's a short poetic saying: sell well, come home, Rome serves part deaf, high stat friend seeks. That's 12 words as mnemonic hints for the 12 houses of the whole house system. Sell is for the first house of self or self-appearance. This is the house that answers the question, how you look. Well is for the second house of wealth or assets and wealth. This is the house that answers the question, how much you have. Come is for the third house of communicating or sharing. This is the house that answers the question, how you speak. Home is for the fourth house of home and foundations or family. This is the house that answers the question, where you live. Rome is for the fifth house of romance or pleasure and creativity. This is the house that answers the question, how you love. Serves is for the sixth house of service and health. This is the house that answers the question, how you work. Part is for the seventh house of partnerships, marriage, and balance. This is the house that answers the question, how you relate to others. Death is for the eighth house of death and regeneration. This is the house that answers the question, how you live. High is for the ninth house of higher learning and travel. This is the house that answers the question, how you travel and learn. Stat is for the 10th house of status, career, and reputation. This is the house that answers the question, how you aspire. Friend is for the 11th house of friendships and community. This is the house that answers the question, how you befriend. And seek is for the 12th and final house of secrets and sorrows. This is the house that answers the question, what do you hide? Shifting between house systems will lead to the planets aligning differently with each house and thus lead to different interpretations. By all means, please feel free to explore the other systems on your own time. For the sake of expediency, let's stick with the whole house system though for our immediate exercises in exploring astrology and uncovering mysteries here. Okay, so we know all the signs, all the planets, and now all the houses. Yes, it's a lot to keep up with. One last consideration that we must give to all these pieces of the birth chart is the matter of how the planets align with one another in terms of aspects. At the time of your birth, were certain planets sitting within the same sign or house on your chart? Were some planets a couple of signs away from each other, or perhaps the planets were way across, completely on the opposite side of the chart? These connections or disconnections may be described as aspects of your chart. Here are a few of the essential aspects that you should take note of. Please note that aspects may also be defined in terms of angles.
Just as an example, today we'll use the birth chart of someone born on February 1st, 1981 at 11:11 a.m. in Atlanta, Georgia of the United States of America. Let's give this person a name. Let's call them Josie. Let's start with the obvious. Josie's sun is in Aquarius, so that makes Josie an Aquarius with her sun sign in Aquarius. Her moon is in Capricorn, implying that she'll be emotionally disciplined and restrained throughout her life. And Josie's ascendant is in Taurus, meaning that essential stability will be a driving force within her as well.
The first aspect is a conjunction, where planets are basically sitting together in the same sign or house of a chart. A conjunction is described as being 0 degrees apart. And when your planets are conjunct, it is said that those planets will have a special power and emphasis on your life. It's a strength, or dare say, a forte.
So in Josie's case, we see that Jupiter is in conjunction with Saturn, implying a disciplined growth cycle throughout her life. The moon is in conjunction with Neptune, implying that Josie's imagination and dreams will be tied up in her emotions. Mercury is in conjunction with Mars, implying assertive communications to her benefit.
If a planet is on the opposite side of your chart, or 180 degrees away, or 6 signs apart, it is said to be in opposition and would represent possible conflicts and difficulties in the future.
We see that Josie has a couple of oppositions on her chart. Her sun opposes the north node of the moon, but more critically, her ascendant opposes Pluto, which implies that Josie will not be prone to significant transformations in her life. She'll face conflict when on the cusp of redefining herself, if she finds that that is something that she must do.
The next aspect that is second furthest away from a sign may be called a quincunx. It's sitting 5 signs away, or 150 degrees apart. These planets that are in quincunx are said to have disconnects where adjustments or compromises may need to be made from time to time.
Josie's chart has 3 significant quincunxes. Both Jupiter and Saturn are in quincunx with Chiron, but the one quincunx to focus on may be that quincunx that exists with Uranus and her ascendant. That quincunx means that when there's a season of great upheaval in Josie's life, she may be faced with making more significant compromises when compared to others who don't have that quincunx with their ascendant.
One positive aspect to note are trines or trines, which are 120 degrees apart or 4 signs away. When a planet trines your sign, it is said to have harmony and automatic benefits associated with it.
Right off the bat, we see that Josie's sun trines with Saturn, so in her self-appearance, we should expect Josie to see benefits from being a bit more disciplined and conservative with her appearance. This may be hard because the quirky Aquarius that Josie is may tend to take fashion risks from time to time. That's the nature of the friendly futurist, the Aquarius. Sometimes their futuristic stylings may veer well outside of conservative norms. We also see that Mercury and Mars trine with Pluto, which implies Josie's assertive communications may ultimately help her to transform others through her voice, but not necessarily herself, given that Pluto opposes her ascendant. Both the Moon and Neptune trine Josie's ascendant, so she should see that her emotional instincts and dreams will be a beneficial driving force in her life.
On the negative side is an aspect that is 90 degrees away or 3 planets apart. It's called being a square with another planet. A square is said to represent conflicting desires and inner struggles that may ultimately serve as a catalyst in someone's life.
For Josie, there are multiple squares in her chart. Let's just note that Venus is in square with Pluto and her ascendant. Boil it down to this. It means that Josie's love life will be in conflict with her ultimate aspirations and that her love life will not enable any significant transformation in her life. And if we read too much into it, it might make us sad. But that is what the chart implies. We can take it with a grain of salt or dismiss it altogether. Josie's sun is square with Chiron, and Chiron is square with her moon's north node, meaning that there will be conflict between her self-appearance and her ability to heal herself or others. We shouldn't be surprised if there are low self-esteem issues present throughout her life. And her north node being in conflict with Chiron implies that her emotions are going to be tied up as she deals with overcoming any wounds, mental or physical, that she may suffer. Mercury and Mars are square with Uranus, implying that Josie's assertiveness may become very strident during periods of upheaval in her life.
Following the squares are sextiles, which are 2 signs or 60 degrees apart, and it's said that planets that are sextile with each other can have positive effects with a little effort.
For Josie, we see that her ascendant is in sextile with Mercury. She will ultimately benefit from the use of her voice. Her moon is sextile with Mercury, meaning that her emotions and moods will be enhanced by how she communicates. And Mars is in sextile with her ascendant, implying she's one tough cookie, regardless of what circumstances may confront her.
Those are the key aspects that provide major insights into someone's chart. There are other aspects that you can delve into. There are semi-squares at 45 degrees and semi-sextiles at 30 degrees. There are more advanced angles like sesquiquadrates at 135 degrees or quintiles and biquintiles at 72 and 144 degrees respectively.
Funny enough, Josie didn't have any obvious semi-squares in her chart at birth. There's one semi-sextile of Mars with Venus. That's a hot mix of assertive aggressive love right there. Read into it what you will. Josie has had 3 sesquiquadrates, the most notable cases being Mars with both Jupiter and Saturn, and Neptune with the north node of the moon. Mercury is in quintile with Chiron.
There are many advanced ways to parse a chart, but we'll stick with the basics for this intro to astrology. Here's a quick mnemonic tool for recalling the aspects. Kanop kin, trisquase, simsquase, seski, kin by kin. The first 3 phrases are key. Con for conjunction, op for opposition, and kin for quincunx. Then, tri for trine, squa for square, and se for sextile. Next, sim for semi-square, and another se for semi-sextile. Lastly, seski for sesquiquadrate, kin for quintile, and bikin for biquintile. And with that mnemonic in hand, you will have mastered the aspects of birth charts. Again, we'll focus on the top set of aspects, Kanap Kin, Traskwase, and Simskwase. Please feel free to focus on the more advanced aspects in your own time. With these top-level terms, we have provided the language necessary to interpret the basic aspects of any chart. And we'll get a bit more into the details of aspects in the next video in this series, How to Read Birth Charts, the Celebrity Showdown. Don't miss it. A good exercise is to pull your own chart and play through a few scenarios. You might want to check what your chart would have looked like an hour earlier or an hour later. How would that have impacted your chart? You might see that your ascendant rising sign is shifted. That would have been the case for myself, as my ascendant sign would have shifted from Capricorn to Aquarius if I'd only been born an hour later. The good news is that my rising sign, though, is in Capricorn, and thus my chart revealed to me that as much as I might like to explore astrology and uncover mysteries alone, the truth is that I can't unlock my own destiny until I help you unlock yours. And that's what we're here for. So again, you may also choose to see what would have happened if you were born at an extreme point of the day, early in the morning or late at night. The great thing is that there are online apps and software that will enable you to quickly run through these scenarios and see what your chart would have looked like in extreme cases. Back in the day, an astrologer would have had to take a lot of time to handcraft your chart and work through all of the math and positions of the planets for you. That would have required a lot of time and money. But today, thanks to the internet and technology, you can pull a precise birth chart with just a few keystrokes and a few moments of your time. Be sure to check the video description below for recommended sites, or visit us directly at mzods.com for the latest links to the best sites on the internet for these birth charts. So, we know our planets, Sumo Me, Be Maju, Sarne Pluch. We know our houses, Sell Well, Come Home, Rome Serves, Part Death, High Stat Friend Seeks. And we know the major aspects of the charts, be they conjunctions, sextiles, trines, squares, or oppositions. That's Kanap Ki, Traskwase, Simskwase. And there you have it. That's a quick overview of the planets, the houses, and a brief intro to the aspects of birth charts. Hope that you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't done so already, please share, comment, like, and subscribe to this channel. We want to invite you to continue this odyssey of understanding the keys to astrology. The next video up is How to Read Birth Charts, the Celebrity Showdown. This next video will provide a deeper review of birth charts using a few celebrities, including Janet Jackson, as examples. Don't miss it. And as always, we want to encourage you to visit our website at mzods.com for free reports that are specifically tailored to you and designed to meet your needs. Just sign up at mzods.com to receive your free report today. And by signing up, you'll also be eligible for special contests, prizes, and giveaways that may occur from time to time. So don't miss out. Stop waiting. Start doing. At Masters of the Zodiac, we track the best of the best astrologers and apps that are available. If you've had a great experience with an astrologer or an astrology app, let us know. If you've had a bad or horrible experience, let us know. Drop comments here or on YouTube, or drop them at mzods.com, where you'll find a treasure trove of insights and reviews about the best astrologers and astrology apps on the market. And also, don't forget to show your Zodiac pride. You'll find some of the best gear to let the world know exactly who you are based on your Zodiac sign. Yes, visit our online store at mzods.com for the best Zodiac swag on the internet, and check back periodically for the latest updates. So until next time, please stay safe and have an excellent journey on this adventure that we call life. Until next time, I'm Brian LeVar, and this is Masters of the Zodiac.
Follow Brian on Instagram and Twitter at BRYLAVAR.